Hey, welcome to this very special, this is going to be a short, an episode that we call a short because it's just going to be about maybe 6-7 minutes long. But we're going to have a conversation with Robert Sofia, who is the CEO of Snappy Kraken, and then Perry Boles, who is our Chief Marketing Officer here at CreativeOne. Before I get too far down into the weeds, though, I do want to remind you, of course, go ahead and hit that like button. The little subscribe button is there. Just snatch that thing, subscribe. That way you're always in the know. And then if you've got any comments, suggestions, things you want to say, throw them in there. I read, I respond. And I appreciate it. So with that being said, this is an addendum to a conversation that I just had on another episode with Robert, and we were talking about essential digital marketing. And I asked Perry to hop on here, and I'll introduce everybody in just one second. But I asked Perry to hop on here because effectively communicating and having a well-rounded messaging, branding platform is so important to an advisor. It's like the food pyramid when we were all kids in school. You know, it's all part of a well-balanced diet. And as an advisor, it's even more important. Actually, scratch that. It's critical to have that messaging to be able to have yourself out there. So joining me today, real quick for this conversation, is Robert Sofia, co-founder, chairman, CEO of Snappy Kraken. Robert, great to see you again, sir.
You too. Thanks for having me, Dennis.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It is awesome to have you here. And then also joining us is Perry Boles. So Perry is our Chief Marketing Officer here at CreativeOne. Perry, welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Excited to be here.
It is great to have you both here. So this is a follow-up to a conversation that Robert and I were having on really essential digital marketing. And I wanted to talk about how CreativeOne has partnered with Snappy Kraken and what we're bringing to the table here. I usually don't like to get too far into a product commercial or anything like that, but I think this is super important because things are moving so fast that the days of, you know, having your assistant lick envelopes and throw some stamps on something, that dog doesn't hunt anymore. And that is a reference to your dog that's sitting behind you, Robert. I had to bring the pup into the conversation. There's a dog back there, but those days have gone. So Perry, tell us a little bit about the relationship, the partnership that we have with Snappy Kraken and what that means to somebody who's listening to this podcast.
Yeah, so we worked very closely with Snappy Kraken and started our relationship with them about a little over a year ago. And what we saw and what Robert talks about is, you know, when it comes to the creativity and the personalization and the way they develop their marketing communications and the automations and make advisors' lives easy when it comes to staying in touch with their clients and their prospects, they're really leading the industry with that. And it's so much more than what they bring to the table than, you know, your typical dry financial update on XYZ or, you know, stock imagery that everyone's seen a million times before. So they do a really great job. And so we realized that and really dove in and looked into their platform and realized that it was kind of a game changer for what we could bring to the table for our advisors. And you know, we looked at taking that a step further too. Is, you know, a lot of advisors are so busy running their practice. You're small business owners, you're entrepreneurs. There's so many things that you have going on in your practice, and you want to spend time, you know, making it rain and driving revenue or so many other things. So we really partner with advisors with our program called Engage One and kind of take some of the heavy lifting off their plates. So we kind of help take what Snappy Kraken has done such a great job of and generating all this awesome content and making it easy to use and sync up your CRMs and get all your contacts in there. And so we kind of help curate a content schedule for advisors each month, take care of handling compliance, getting everything approved for them, and making sure that it's getting pushed out to the right channels and the right people at the right times.
So, Robert, you just heard Perry's description. Is that accurate to what Snappy Kraken brings to the table? Did he do you justice?
I think he did great. I think the really noteworthy thing here is you guys are doing all the heavy lifting for advisors. I mean, it's a platform that makes everything a lot faster and easier, but there's still a time commitment. I think to do it well, to select your campaigns and do a little bit of personalization and handle the compliance, you know, submit it for compliance approval and things like that. You know, it's still an hour or two a month. Now it's a lot cheaper than having a full marketing team and a lot faster too, but it's time. And when you guys step in and do all that for them, I think that's incredible. That's a huge value.
I think about something that you said when we were talking before, that an advisor just doesn't have the time during a work week, during a work day, with everything they have going on, to really effectively manage their digital presence, their marketing presence.
It's true. There's always a balancing act to be done. And depending on how busy you are and how you've structured your business, where that balance falls more toward daily operations and client service or toward marketing varies. Few advisors get the balance perfect. It's actually funny to me when I look at the advisor landscape, and I've known advisors who are amazing at marketing. They spend all their time marketing, but they end up having very small businesses because they have no time to serve clients. And then there's advisors who seem to spend all their time serving clients and gathering assets, but they struggle to ever do any marketing. And neither balance is healthy. So the advisors who we see really thriving are the ones who figure out how to delegate and outsource as much as possible, stay at a strategic level, stay at the level where they can provide the most impact. And that's where partners like Snappy Kraken and CreativeOne stepping in and saying, hey, we'll take this piece off your plate. We'll make sure your leads get nurtured. We'll make sure your clients receive meaningful communications. Go do what you do best is the winning combo.
So, question for you. This just popped into my head, but when it comes to digital, Robert, what do you think is one of the biggest maybe misunderstandings that advisors have when they look to employ a Snappy Kraken or an Engage One with Creative?
Probably the most common one, there's a number of them, but the one that comes to mind is, I don't want to do the same thing as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing this for thousands of advisors, I'm not going to be unique. And that holds a lot of advisors back. And so the option is go do it all yourself from scratch. Oh, well, I don't have the time for that. Okay, well then go pay somebody or a team to go build it all from scratch. Oh, I can't afford that. Okay, so what are you going to do then, right? So it becomes actually an outcome of inaction.
Mm-hmm.
And where the better practice is, use something like Snappy Kraken, but personalize it a little bit. I actually just was showing a client the other day, take our proven campaigns, go in and replace them with a couple of personal images of you and your family, or use our script to record the video and drop it. We've already written the script. We've already got it compliance approved. We've already given you the campaign. Just take 5 minutes and record the video. Now it's your face, it's unique, but everything else is done for you. So take the proven framework, take the stuff that's done and just tweak it a little bit. And then if you want to create some custom, original, 100% unique, thoughtful content, great. But you don't have to do all of it that way. Use us for the 80% and go create with your 20% and buy a bunch of your time back.
That's a great answer. Perry, when you hear that, what do you think from your perspective, from the IMO world, working with the producers, biggest misconceptions when it comes to digital and actually just marketing in general?
Well, something that's interesting that kind of stuck in my head because we were recently out at the Jolt conference that Snappy Kraken put on in Vegas, which was tremendous, by the way. Someone on stage said, if you're not pissing someone off, you're probably not doing enough marketing, right? I thought that really stuck with me. I thought it was great. And one of the things, we hear sometimes, and I'd love to get your thought on this too, Robert, is they might go from doing very little or nothing at all when it comes to digital marketing and communication to all of a sudden now with Snappy Kraken, we're pushing out a ton of content all the time, right? So we're touching the clients a lot more often. We're staying in front of your prospects a lot more, which is all really great. But they kind of get a little bit worried that maybe we're pushing out too much content or sending too many emails. And so trying to reframe that position of, this constant communication helps build really deeper relationships, helps you know your clients, get that they can know you on a more personal level, and ultimately hopefully leads to long-lasting relationships and more referrals. So I'd love to get your thoughts on that, Robert.
Yeah, you're spot on. The expression, you can't bake a cake without breaking a few eggs. It comes to mind as well. And we get so many trolls and negative comments and unsubscribes. You wouldn't believe it. And it used to bother me. And then I realized these aren't the people I want as clients anyway. And it's because of the volume that we're getting that, but it's also because of the volume that we've been able to 10x this business in 3 years. And so there is a certain fear advisors tend to bring about the reputation risk of over marketing, but the risk on the other side is a stagnant business, a not growing business, or clients who don't feel communicated with. And the other thing I would add is it is a misconception because ultimately people can be subscribed to different lists that receive different types of communications for different purposes and with different frequency. And ultimately they can even opt out of certain things and stay subscribed to other things. So it's a risk that can be managed.
I think in a conversation we had before, you answered that beautifully, Robert, with the fact that with an advisor using their CRM correctly, and the rapid expanse of what Snappy Kraken is bringing to the table, and what we're able to do here at CreativeOne, the ability to customize that kind of marketing. So it's not just everybody gets the same message nonsense. It actually is tailored to fit. And you said a great thing there. That I had a number before. 64% of clients say that their financial advisor contacts them infrequently. They're just not getting touched. And I think that is out of fear, unfounded fear of not wanting to be the multi-level marketing sale. There's that on one end, and there's successful advisor on the other, and there's fear in the middle. And that's something that I think Snappy Kraken definitely, and the program, Perry, the programs that you built at Creative have brought to the table. Out of respect for time, that was just a short. Robert, I'd love to have you back on sometime. I'm so excited to see what goes on in the near future for Snappy Kraken. You thought I was kidding, but I wrote another thing down that you said from our last conversation. And when I asked you what was exciting to you about the future, you said you're really excited for Snappy Kraken and being in the middle of this I'm going to missay it, so correct me here, but being in the middle of the coming together of data, of automation, and then the ability to generate content real time, and Snappy Kraken and CreativeOne, poof, right in the middle of that. It's exciting stuff.
It is, and I think you summarized it well. I have no critique for you.
You're on this podcast every time. Okay, with that being said, gentlemen, I thank you so much for your time. This was just a short. Maybe we get an opportunity to extend this in the future. But for those of you watching or listening, of course, would love it if you'd love it if you'd subscribe, love it if you'd leave a comment. With that being said, gentlemen, thank you for your time. We'll see you all next time.